Welcome to the channel, guys. We are back again, and today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 fragrances for Valentine's Day, so stay tuned for that. If you like top pick lists, cologne comparisons, fragrance reviews, and first impressions, hit that subscribe button for more great content. So Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and I thought I would take a little bit of time to talk about 5 fragrances that I find to be I think good for romantic situations. They might smell a little bit sensual. They might be romantic or cozy in that sense, and that's why I picked them. I'll explain that in a bit. But I have tried to avoid some of the usual suspects. One of them, which I will mention, is an honorable mention, but obviously it could easily be number one. I talk about this a lot. I will always, or at least for a very long time, talk about this fragrance, and that is, no surprise probably, Dolce & Gabbana 1 EDP. I vastly prefer the EDP over the EDT. I find that this is just a deeper, richer smell. And it is really, really amazing. It has a nice little bit of citrus on the top, and then it has this very nice, robust, aromatic amber and tobacco. But like I said, honorable mention, really only because I talk about it a lot, and I'm sure you were probably expecting this one, so I wanted to give you a little bit of a different list. So we'll jump right into the rest of the list. And the first, number 5, you might think this fragrance is a little bit basic. I know a lot of people probably do. But it's one that definitely gets the job done really, really well. And that is Bleu de Chanel Perfume. And yes, it's sort of your typical blue fragrance. It's definitely one of the first fragrances. The Bleu de Chanel line was one of the first fragrances to really do this blue DNA. I think, as people keep saying this to me, Polo Blue came first. But I don't know if it had that shower gel vibe. But you know, this is a very nice, clean and fresh fragrance. It has a little bit of depth. All the edges are rounded on the Parfum version, making it a lot smoother, a lot more high quality smelling. And, you know, even now when I pick this one up, because I don't wear it that often, and when I do pick it up, when I smell the cap, when I do wear it, when I'm definitely in the mood to revisit this one, it really does have a nice little wow effect on me because it is very pleasant. But this isn't just about my own personal taste. This is my favorite Bleu de Chanel, by the way. But this is one that I found, you know, women really love this smell. You know, it just has something about it that really, really works. Fresh and clean. There is just something that has this sort of very nice, alluring charm. And this is one of the only fragrances that I'll say that I've gotten, you know, a compliment from a complete stranger that I didn't even actually know. And it wasn't anything too crazy. They just wanted to know what I was wearing. But, you know, at least, you know, where I find myself, where I'm from, you don't usually get a compliment from somebody complete stranger. They're far more likely to come from people that you know at least somewhat. And this one just has a nice magical scent trail. Now, Parfum lasts a very, very long time. It doesn't project a lot, so especially if you are in a cozy situation, it is nice in the sense that it's not going to be overwhelming to anybody that's close to you. But if they're close to you, they're definitely going to be able to smell it. So that's number 5, and it is Bleu de Chanel Parfum. The next one is another great designer fragrance. And, you know, I keep hearing complaints about this one lately. Maybe the formulation has been reformulated, but it is Spice Bomb Extreme. Spice Bomb also works. Doesn't have to be the Extreme. I happen to have the Extreme. I do sometimes think about getting the original because I do really like it as well. But this is just such a beautiful, spicy vanilla fragrance, basically. Opens up very spicy, dries down very sweet, with a nice little bit of spice. There's something in the mid of this one that gives me a little bit of like a Coca-Cola vibe. Smells a little bit like Coca-Cola gummies, and I really do like that about it. But it's one that I also find, again, women do tend to like this. It's cozy, it's good for snuggling up. And in fact, some women love the Spice Bomb DNA so much that they actually wear Spice Bomb, which, again, I mean, you know, wear what you like. But it is one of those fragrances that is good for getting close to people. I also, at least on my bottle, find the performance to be really, really good. So very loud in the beginning, you know, good solid projection for, you know, 2-3 hours. And I actually remember I did get a comment on this from somebody who was walking behind me, and they were like 10 feet behind me, and they could smell this. So it leaves a very powerful scent trail. It is a beautiful fragrance. You know, it's well composed, and you know, it is, you know, the Spice Bomb line is definitely Victor and Rolf's best line, and it is for a reason. Very good fragrance and good for getting cozy. Next one, you know, I might find this a little bit of surprise, or some people might, although maybe not, It is a little bit, I like to think of it as a gentleman's fragrance, but I found, again, this is another one that women tend to respond to very well, and that is Roja Dove Kerosene, or Enigma, Parfum Cologne. Now, I personally do prefer the Parfum Cologne. They're almost the same to me, the Parfum Cologne. I do find that, yes, the Parfum might perform a little bit better, but this already performs very, very well. And it has a really nice, a little bit of freshness in the opening, a fizzy sort of cola vibe with some cognac. And to me, I get the tobacco right away. It does open up with a bit of a sort of aromatic tobacco, but not like the one EDP. It just has a very light, sort of almost fresh tobacco that does dry down into a very cozy, chocolatey tobacco. And it is that chocolatey kind of tobacco vibe that I think works really well as well. And definitely puts itself in a position to be a great fragrance for cuddling. This one isn't beast mode, but it's also not super subtle. So it is one that people are going to get whiffs of. They're going to definitely smell it on you. You don't have to get super close to smell it like some other fragrances. And it does last a very long time. So with this one, I definitely find that it's going to last that 8 to 10 hour range. And honestly, the price point on the Parfum Cologne and the bottle presentation is gorgeous. I do love these sort of, semi-shaded glass bottles that they have for the Parfum Cologne line. And again, this is just another good fragrance that has that gentlemanly, strong, gentlemanly, masculine vibe. Very, very nicely done. So if you do like tobacco fragrances, this is a really, really good one. Definitely for fall and winter, even not just Valentine's Day. It's a great signature scent, and it is really nice. Next on the list is a gourmand, and I was very tempted to have all gourmands, because one thing I find in common for gourmand fragrances is that they have a very sensual aspect to them, in my opinion anyways. Most of them. That's one of the key features of a gourmand, is that there is this sort of sensual aspect, sensual touch to it, which is actually really, really good for those close encounters. Now, this one is, as I've mentioned before, my most complimented gourmand. It is one of the more unique ones, I think, as well. I always praise this brand because I am a little bit of a fanboy for this brand, and that is Unknown Pleasures by Kerosene. Now, this one has this sugary, lemony top, which comes off a little bit like a lemon biscuit. And then what happens is when it transforms, as the lemon sort of fades down, you get this really nice, sugary waffle cone vibe. And it is something that's really pleasant. And I don't know a lot of fragrances that have this sort of waffle cone feel to it, but this is one that people seem to really, really enjoy. And it does smell absolutely amazing. So you get this nice, sugary waffle cone that has that sort of sensual, delicious kind of vibe that I find a lot of gourmand fragrances do. Performance is also really strong on this one. So, it will last in that 8-hour range for sure. Projection good for the first 2-3 hours, and it does leave a nice scent trail. So if you're walking past somebody or somebody's sort of in your zone, they're definitely going to pick up on this one. So that is Unknown Pleasures by Kerosene. Now, the number one fragrance. I thought about this one pretty carefully, and I decided that it would be this one, partially because, yes, it can easily be the number one fragrance, but also because for some people, this has been a little bit more accessible lately, whereas usually I wouldn't really include it because it's not so accessible. And that, of course, is Italica by Xerjoff. Now, I wouldn't recommend blind buying because it is a fairly expensive fragrance to blind buy. I personally did manage to pick up a decant of this beforehand, and I kind of knew that I liked it, so when I did pick it up the first time I was in London, it wasn't really a risk for me. But it does retail around £275, and that is not a small chunk of change for a blind buy. Now, I will also say that for people to be aware of, I guess, that they have changed the bottle, so it is now just a solid red that doesn't have this velvet anymore. This is both a good and a bad thing. I like the red the red velvet thing because it is cool, it feels nice, it's very luxurious feeling. But on the other hand, they were fairly prone to leaking, and on top of that, really, if any moisture gets on this, it absolutely ruins the felt. And you get this mushy red goo, and it's unappealing. So in one sense, yeah, it's unfortunate that it's not going to have this very nice, very, classy presentation anymore, but the presentation is still nice, and it does generally make a little bit more sense. But onto the fragrance itself. This is, for me, the king of sillage, in the sense that, to me, it's not really a room filler, but it creates a very dense bubble, which means if somebody enters your space, they are definitely going to be picking up on this one, and it lasts a very long time. I would easily put this in the 10-12 hour mark. Now, this one opens up with a hint of strawberry, which I don't think is a listed note, but there is a hint of strawberry there. And then it has this nice dry almond, reminds me a little bit of a biscuit. And then as this one starts to dry down, hits the mid, it starts to get that toffee, and it gets a lot of creaminess. And you get this really nice, very thick and sensual, creamy almond vibe that is just absolutely amazing. And, personally, I haven't smelled another gourmand like this. So it also gets points for being unique. So I do like that a lot about this fragrance. And this is one where a little bit does go a long way. So, like I said, it's not a beast mode projector, at least in my experience. It's not going to fill a room, but it is very thick in the radius that it does leave that scent bubble. So, yeah, absolutely gorgeous fragrance. And if you do get the chance, of course, you want to sample this one. And then if it is available online, again, you find it to be worth it to you. Of course, I found it to be a worthwhile purchase, and I'm happy with this one. I also love these Zerdrov caps. I gotta say, there's something about these pointy caps that just works. It's a nice aesthetic touch. But anyways, guys, that is the top 5, and of course, the one honorable mention, which could easily be the true number 1, because it is just that timeless classic fragrance. But that is my list. Leave a comment down below, guys. What do you plan to wear, or what would you recommend wearing for a Valentine's date? Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.